Grab your Bibles. John chapter 13, verse 1. Let's read it together. It was just before the Passover feast. Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. I'm reading out of the NIV. Having loved his own who were with him in the world, he now showed them the full extent of his love. Here it is. The full extent of his love. What did he do to show this? It wasn't the cross. You want to see the full extent of his love? Look what he did. The evening meal was being served. The devil had already prompted Judas Iscariot, son of Simon, to betray Jesus. And Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, wrapped a towel around his waist, and after that he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. We are looking at the full extent of his love. What? Wait, something's wrong. I thought it was the cross. I thought it was maybe the bloodshed in the Garden of Gethsemane. What? This isn't it. Yeah, this is it. This is it. The full extent of his love. You want to see the full extent of his love? This is it. And you have to let that simmer for a bit. You're starting to get the juices flowing a little bit. The full extent of his love. What? What's happening? Let's take a look at the picture of what's happening in this room. So he comes to Simon Peter, who said to him, Lord, are you going to wash my feet? Jesus replied, you don't realize now what I'm doing, but later you're going to understand this. Peter said, you shall never wash my feet. Jesus answered, unless I wash your feet, you have no part of me. Then, Lord, Simon Peter said, not just my feet, but everything. Give me a bath. And Jesus says, look, a person who's had a bath needs only to wash his feet. His whole body's clean. He's got yucky feet. And you are clean, though not every one of you. For he knew who was going to betray him. And that is why he said not every one of you was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and he returned to his place. Do you understand what I've done for you? He asked them. You call me teacher and Lord, and that's right that you do that, because that is what I am. And now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. I tell you the truth. No servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be what?
Blessed.
Blessed if you do them. That is a definitive statement. You will be blessed. You will be blessed. Not you might be blessed. You'll be sort of blessed. If you do these things, you will be blessed. So, go do them. And so, it's possible not to be blessed. It's possible to not get blessings that are yours. Let's say that here is this fountain just pouring down right here, this waterfall of blessing, and I'm standing right here. Would that be stupid? I kind of want to be standing here. I want to be in the fountain. But if I do this, am I going to be as blessed? Not so much. But if there's a fountain of blessing and he says you do these things, you'll be blessed, I am really a knucklehead if I'm not standing right here. You know? I mean, that's really the Christian experience. God has provided for us this incredible channel of blessing. Get in.
Amen.
Go for it. Why don't we get in? And here he's telling you, listen, here's a way to be blessed. If you do these things, you'll be blessed. Now, God says, I'm going to show you something. Jesus is going to show you the full extent of his love. The full extent of his love. And he does this washing the feet thing, which is weird because you don't expect it. You want to see something more dramatic. I mean, blood, carrying a cross for miles, being whipped. That's the full extent. No. Puts on a towel, washes some feet. Huh? Doesn't that, it's like, it doesn't make sense. Anticlimactic. But this is it. This is the full extent of his love. Let's see what's really happening here. Understand the culture just a little bit. Culturally speaking, when you went to somebody's house, how did you generally get there? Did you jump in your VW and cruise on over? How did you get there? Probably walked. And if you're walking in Jesus' time, and you're walking on the roads, were they paved? No, they were dusty, dirty dirt roads. And some people had vehicles. What were those?
Donkeys.
Camels and donkeys. And sometimes they would take some of their sheep or cows down the road as well. So not only were the roads dusty and dirty, but there was leftover exhaust from these other people's vehicles on the road. And so you're walking the dusty, dirty streets of Jerusalem, and you have sweaty feet, and there's dust and dirt and some doo-doo on the ground. And you're heading over to have dinner with some friends. When you get there, you're clean, you got all spruced up, you put on your nice stuff, you got your duds on, you're smelling good. Your feet are messy. You stepped in some stuff on the way over. And so when they would get there, customarily, you'd enter somebody's house, and the first thing that would happen, and this was just custom, first thing that happened is you would be presented with what? A bowl of water, a towel, and most of the time, there would be somebody there to wash your feet. So you walk in, and the servant would wash your feet. So you're saying, hey, how you doing? You let's say you go to visit with somebody, go to Ray's house. I'm over, hey, Ray, how you doing? I'm shaking hands, greeting. At the same time, this unseen, unknown, who cares, servant is washing my feet. Right? And he washes my other feet, my feet are toweled up. I don't even recognize this is happening. It's so commonplace. And then I go, and we begin to share and get ready for the evening meal. And so this is what typically happens. But when they sat around at the Last Supper, that's what this is. This is John 13. This is the Last Supper. This is all of them. Anybody ever seen the painting by Leonardo? The Last Supper? It wasn't right. They weren't sitting at a table. They didn't have goblets and plates. That's not how it worked. I don't know why he did that. I'd like to ask him, Leo, what are you thinking? They reclined on the floor. There was no table. There were no goblets and plates. They reclined on the floor. There weren't forks and spoons. They'd take a piece of flatbread and they'd scoop out of a bowl and they'd eat that stuff. That's pretty much how they lived. And they would do it, like this. Kind of like this. So we're all here talking and eating. There's a guy here. There's a guy there. There's a guy there. And we're eating like this. Now, being that we're all around this same table, and this guy's over here, his feet are like right here. Ew. No, I don't want his dirty feet in my face. What? And I'd get up and I'd say, what is this? Your feet stink. Where have you been walking? What have you been doing? This is really what's happening. And so in this picture, you've got them reclining, and it's at that moment, the evening meal is being ready to be served, and Jesus gets up. Oh, guys, why the dirty feet? Now, you think Jesus is surprised about what's going on? He knew this was happening. God set this all up a long time ago, and here comes Jesus to teach them something in this setting. But why? Now, there's a problem here. There is a cultural disconnect. When they come to somebody's house, what typically happens when you come to somebody's house?
Serving.
Yeah, the feet are being... Why is this not happening? Well, I have a couple hunches. Number one, it's nobody's house. It's a rented place, right? It's nobody's house. They borrowed the place. That's what it tells us. They borrowed this place. So I could just see this going on. Peter shows up. I always see Peter as kind of a big burly, fisherman. Hey guys, he comes in and he's looking around. There's no bowl of water. He's just walking all across town. There's no bowl of water. He's looking around. He probably said, Andrew. Andrew's like, I'm nobody's servant. What's your own feet? So Philip's like, I thought Andrew was going to do it. Guys, hey, I'm nobody's servant. You wash your own feet. You wash your feet. I'm not a servant. I'm not going to do that. These are the same guys that were arguing last week about who's the greatest in the kingdom. Remember that? These are the same guys. They come into this room, they're like, I'm not going to wash feet. And so here we have a cultural faux pas. It doesn't happen. And now the guest of honor comes, and even his feet don't get cleaned. There they are, preparing to eat this meal. They're reclining at the table, and you have that scenario where Jesus says, your feet aren't clean. Now Jesus gets up, and they're like, oh, he's probably going to manifest a servant. Oh, a servant. No, or maybe he's going to just, our feet are clean. No, he didn't do that either. He takes off his outer garment. They're, what? And he puts a towel around him. They're like, whoa, 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 wait. No. This is Jesus, Lord of the universe, King of kings. And he's putting on what? He's putting on a waitress uniform? He's doing what? No, may it never be. And see, Jesus was making a huge statement. He didn't have to do it this way. He could have done it a bunch of other ways. I can think of other ways he could have done it. But he did it this way. He took off his outer garment. He puts on the clothing, the uniform of a servant. And you know, it's always been said, a man becomes what he wears. You are the man of your uniform, you know. You ever notice when you put on a suit how different you act? You don't sit the same in a chair and you don't greet people the same. You're a little bit more dignified. And you know, you're not going to run out and throw the football at the kids. You know, you're just not going to do that. You're wearing a suit. You know, you're wearing a suit. Isn't that funny? A lot of churches where people wear suits a lot, they even act funny in church. Hi, good to see you, brother. God bless you. Something happens when we put on certain clothes. You put on some board shorts, dude, you're ready to go have fun. Ready? So you are the person of the uniform you put on. Everybody plays that game. We all do. Jesus knew that, and Jesus put on the uniform of a servant.